The Galactic Threat Assessment Bureau had 5 classifications for dangerous species. Class 1 through 4 covered the standard range, from mildly hazardous to significantly dangerous, the categories that most species with any biological aggression fell into, the classifications that triggered standard protocols and standard responses, and the kind of careful but manageable attention that the Bureau had developed. Over 3 centuries of assessing things that could hurt, Class 5 was different. Class 5 was reserved for species that represented existential threats to galactic civilization, things so dangerous that their classification triggered immediate multi-civilization response protocols, mandatory containment procedures, and the kind of urgent coordinated action that the galaxy's various powers could rarely agree on anything else producing. In 300 years, the Bureau had issued 4 Class 5 classifications. 3 had been resolved through coordinated military action. 1 was still active. Earth had been classified, Class 5 for 11 years. Not Earth the civilization, Earth the planet. Specifically Earth's biosphere. Specifically the fact that Earth's biosphere had, after extensive study by the Bureau's most senior analysts, been determined to represent a category of biological threat that the Bureau's existing frameworks had not been designed to handle. Senior analyst Veth had written the classification report. She had also, 11 years later, written the addendum that everyone kept citing in arguments about whether the classification should be reconsidered. The addendum's first line was, "We classified the wrong thing. The original classification had made sense. Earth's biosphere was, by any objective measure, extraordinarily dangerous. The data was clear. Hundreds of apex predator species occupying overlapping ecological niches. Microbial life that had developed offensive capabilities against other organisms at a level unmatched in the surveyed galaxy. Plants with toxins, insects with venom, ocean life that made the ocean floors of most other worlds look like recreational areas. Weather systems that would be considered natural disasters on planets that had not evolved specifically to survive them. The Bureau's threat matrix had processed this data and produced a Class 5 classification with the mechanical certainty of a system doing exactly what it was designed to do. What the threat matrix had not been designed to process was the species living in the middle of it, not as a separate threat. As context, the humans who had evolved on this planet, who had survived its biosphere not by being more dangerous than it. Humans were, by direct physical comparison, significantly less capable than most of Earth's apex predators, but by developing a relationship with the danger that the Bureau's frameworks had no category for, they had not conquered Earth's biosphere. They had become part of it. Veth's addendum had been prompted by a specific incident, one of many that the Bureau's Earth observation teams had documented over 11 years of active classification monitoring, but one that had crystallized something she had been struggling to articulate since the original report. A human child, approximately 8 years old, had been observed in a coastal region known for high concentrations of dangerous marine life. The observation team had flagged the situation as a potential biosafety incident. The child was in water that the Bureau's own safety protocols would have required full hazard suits to approach. The child was not wearing a hazard suit. The child was playing. The observation team had watched for 40 minutes, increasingly uncertain about what they were observing. The marine life, including 2 species that the Bureau's database classified as aggressive apex predators with documented attacks on large prey, was present in the same water. The child was aware of this. The child was not distressed. At one point, one of the classified aggressive predators had come within 2 meters of the child. The child had moved slightly, not with the sharp motion of someone startled, but with the casual adjustment of someone who had learned through experience where the comfortable distance was, then continued playing. Veth had reviewed this footage 7 times. Then she had written the addendum. We classified Earth's biosphere as a Class 5 threat based on its objective danger metrics. These metrics are accurate. Earth's biosphere is extraordinarily dangerous. What we did not assess, what our framework did not have a category to assess, is that Earth's biosphere produced, as its apex cognitive species, something that does not relate to danger the way our threat models assume. Humans did not develop in a safe environment and learn to navigate danger. They developed in danger and learned to navigate it as their baseline condition. The distinction is not semantic. It produces a fundamentally different relationship with threat, one in which dangerous things are not primarily threats to be avoided but conditions to be understood and worked with. The child in the coastal footage is not behaving unusually for her species. She is demonstrating the baseline human relationship with Earth's biosphere. The marine predators did not attack her not because they could not, but because she understood where the boundaries were. And they understood that she understood. And within those understood boundaries, coexistence was the outcome. We classified the wrong thing. Earth's biosphere is dangerous, but the threat is not the biosphere. The relevant thing, the thing our framework cannot currently classify, is what the biosphere produced. The addendum had generated significant discussion. Not immediate policy change, and a policy change at the Bureau moved slowly by design, because the consequences of misclassification in either direction were significant. But discussion, the kind of sustained, uncomfortable discussion that happened when an existing framework was clearly insufficient, and everyone knew it and nobody wanted to be the one to say so. First, Veth had said so first. The discussion had been going on for 4 years when the Keth incident provided data that moved it from theoretical to operational. The Keth Dominion had been conducting resource surveys in a system adjacent to human territory, standard operation. Their survey team had landed on an uninhabited moon to collect geological samples, and their equipment had malfunctioned in a way that stranded 3 crew members for 6 days before rescue could be arranged. The moon was not uninhabited, had a small human research outpost, 4 researchers studying the moon's geological composition for reasons the Keth survey team did not immediately understand, because the moon had no obvious resource value. When the stranded Keth crew had made contact, the human researchers had provided shelter, food, and assistance with the equipment malfunction that had stranded them. This part was not unusual. Interspecies assistance in emergency situations was common enough. What the Keth crew's report focused on was something else. The human research outpost was on a moon with no atmospheric protection, extreme temperature variation, radiation levels that the Keth crew's equipment flagged as hazardous, and geological instability that produced regular seismic events. The human researchers had been there for 14 months. Without the level of protective equipment the Keth's own safety protocols would have required, not because they were ignoring the hazards. Their incident logs, which they shared openly when asked, showed careful daily monitoring of all hazard metrics. They knew exactly what the conditions were. They had simply assessed those conditions and determined that they were manageable within the parameters of their equipment and training, and had proceeded accordingly. They were not cavalier, the Keth crew's report noted. They were precise. They knew the hazard levels exactly. They had protocols for every risk category. They simply had a different threshold for what constituted an acceptable operating environment than our own. Protocols would suggest. The report included an interview with one of the researchers, a woman named Dr. Osei, who had spent the interview being genuinely helpful about the geological survey the Keth team had been trying to complete when their equipment failed. At the end of the interview, the Keth crew member had asked, somewhat off-script, "Does it not concern you, operating in these conditions for 14 months? Dr. Osei had thought about it. "Of course it concerns me," she said. "That's why we monitor everything carefully. Concern is useful. It keeps you paying attention." She paused. "What you're really asking, I think, is whether I'm afraid. And the honest answer is that I'm appropriately cautious. Fear is a signal. You listen to it, and then you decide what to do with the information. Sometimes the information says don't go there. Sometimes it says go carefully. 14 months of data says this moon is manageable, so we manage it." The Keth crew member had included this exchange in the report with a note that she was not sure what to do with it analytically, but felt it was relevant. Veth had read the report the week it was filed. She had added it to the growing file of incidents that her addendum had started and that had been accumulating ever since. Documentation of humans operating in conditions that the Bureau's frameworks classified as hazardous, not recklessly, not ignorantly, but with the careful attention of people who had developed Over a very long evolutionary history, a relationship with dangerous conditions that was fundamentally different from the relationship the Bureau's models assumed. The reclassification proposal had been on the Bureau's agenda for 2 years. When Veth was finally asked to present it formally, she had spent those 2 years preparing.